to Enter the Spoilercast, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier edition. We are back here again to deal with the penultimate episode of this Marvel TV show. Let's just say there's lots to talk about this time around. With me are the three guys who are going to fix my boat. We've got Carl.
Yeah, I'm not painting over anything.
We've got Keith.
IGN sucks. Your review is garbage.
Wow, and we got Cam.
I'm not lifting anything out of the back of that truck like Bucky. That looked very heavy.
And I'm Sarah, and I'm going to be the disappointed sister who some ex-soldier is going to flirt with. It's going to be very interesting. For me. So yes, we are here to talk about the penultimate episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We've got some big plot moving forward, but of course, to hear all about that, we got to get to the best part of the show. It's Carl's recap. Carl, tell us what happened on this week's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Alright, so this week on Falcon and Winter Soldier, we start out with some action of all things, with Wilson and Barnes demanding to take the shield from Walker, who was in a bit of a depressive, regretful mode after whatever the hell he did, and then went absolute psycho and said, "Hey, I'm Captain America, I deserve the shield, I am the shield, etc., etc." So, in which case, Barnes is like, I get to have some fun now, and I get to beat the shit out of you. Which pretty much happens throughout the entire fight, with both Barnes and Wilson taking on Walker and fighting him to the point where Walker actually destroys Wilson's wingsuit, but they get revenge by breaking Walker's arm and taking the shield. We then move to Sokovia, of all places, where Bucky finds Zemo and hands him over to the Dora Milaje, basically ending that particular portion. Sorry Zemo, hopefully we'll see you in the future. Back on US soil, Walker receives a other than honorable discharge. So that's not a dishonorable discharge, it's an other than honorable discharge. I don't know much about military, so who knows what that means. I'm sure somebody will explain it, probably Keith. Because of this hearing and everything, Walker is stripped of his rank and role as Captain America, but he believes that he is the shield, he is Captain America. So he basically makes himself look like a complete idiot in front of the panel that was passing judgment upon his actions. While sitting outside talking to his wife, Walker is approached by Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, or Val, just don't call her that to her face. Basically saying, hey, you have abilities. There are people who are very interested in your abilities. Stay by the phone. I'm going to give you a call. We might get you some freelance jobs. Wilson has the shield after the fight with Walker, and he goes to visit Bradley, the former super soldier, who states they go into this big diatribe about how there was Bradley's past and everything. How he was experimented on, how the people that he served with were used as experiments, and a big thing about, that's a white man's shield, and no black man would ever want to carry that shield because, racism or something. I totally glossed over this. After that little conversation, Wilson returns home to help fix the family boat, which was part of our intro jokes, and basically turns around and says, hey, we've been a part of this area for so long that people probably owe us favors. So guess what? I'm going to call them in so we can put this boat back together enough to sell the dang thing. So, of course, he calls in those favors, and all of a sudden, Bucky rocks up with a briefcase from the Wakandans to deliver to Sam. And Barnes decides to stick around and help rebuild the boat, and also play catch together with Captain America's shield. Wilson gets into his training as a PTSD counselor about Bucky and his list and how he really needs to be of service rather than going around and taking down the bad guys that he helped create as the Winter Soldier. The two agree that they will do what they need to do, with Barnes heading off to basically make some amends, and Wilson turning around and start training with Captain America's shield because guess what? He might become Captain America. To finish things out for this time, we find that the Flag Smashers are planning an attack on the GRC conference, and they are joined by Batroc and Zilepar, who is trying to basically get revenge against Wilson. And we find that Batroc has actually been hired by Carter. And that's the stop point of the episode, but we do get an extra scene partway through the credits where we see a very disgruntled Walker building a new shield from scrap metal to basically imitate the shield of Captain America. And we are seeing the creation, essentially, of US Agent. And that's where we end it for this week.
Yay! Thank you, Carl.
Yep, so great. So
All right,
terrifying.
So real quick, since you volunteered me to talk about the discharges, I guess because I was in the military, what John Walker received was called an other than honorable discharge, and pretty much this is akin of them saying, we don't want you in around anymore. We're taking out the trash. You get no benefits from us. We don't know who you are. Pretty much the government's way of saying you have been disavowed. You fulfilled your obligation. Get the hell out. We don't want to see you ever again.
How is that different from a dishonorable discharge?
So a dishonorable discharge is actually a lot better than an honorable discharge. Do you want me to go into?
Yes, please. No, yeah. I mean,
okay.
Like,
so a dishonorable discharge has a whole thing behind it. You also get a trial, and there's also certain requirements in order to get an honorable discharge. So with a dishonorable discharge, you get a court-martial hearing. You're told, hey, this is everything that you did. You're going to lose a bunch of your stuff. You also can't ever carry a gun. You don't get access to all your military benefits, but you still get some of them. Other than honorable basically means you get jack. You get nada.
But you don't have to go through a trial.
No.
Okay.
You're gone. This is typically held for those on an officer administrative level, where an honorable a dishonorable discharge is basically for everybody below that. And since he was considered a captain, because, Captain America, he got the top level. Get the hell out. Never come back. Ever again. We don't want to see you again. And just like they said during the hearing, you lose everything. So you lose your benefit, you lose your veterans benefits, you lose everything.
Oh, well, then
and you
very
can never
intense.
rejoin the military again. I believe dishonorable discharge, eventually you can come back. Do not quote me on that one, but I know for a fact, other than honorable, you can never come back.
You out for good. You out, Boy Scout. All right. Well, no wonder he was super pissed about that then. We, however, should start with favorite moments, I think. Cam, what was your favorite moment of the episode?
My favorite moment of the episode was easily the conversation between Isaiah Bradley and Sam Wilson. I feel like that was definitely one of the, if not the most like emotionally just taxing scenes of maybe this whole show. Just them really getting into just like Isaiah's history and his trauma and his issues with the American government, and he's very much justified in that because of just how they treated him. I also did see kind of a parallel between something that he did was he sort of went in and freed a bunch of his squad mates, and then he got reprimanded for that. But then conversely to that, you had Captain America essentially do the same thing, and he got everything that he got afterwards, like just got rewarded for it, which very much tells it's very telling of just the sort of racial divide between Isaiah and Steve Rogers, and then everything about him just talking about his history and just everything that he went through, and it was very just harrowing just to hear his story, and of course he's a bit jaded about Sam potentially wielding that shield, but I feel like he does come from a a place of just experience, and like I don't think he means, you know, ill will towards Sam and just to make him doubt anything, but it's just kind of how he is. He's been through a lot. But yeah, but no, that whole scene was just some powerful stuff that they really got into as far as just being a black man, especially, in that time period, and then of course even now, as with Sam potentially taking up the Captain America title. But yeah, that was it for me for sure, undoubtedly.
Keith, what about you?
I unfortunately cannot give you just one single point because I thought there was a lot of great parts. But if I were to say just one, I would say the chemistry of Bucky and Sam actually becoming together, them becoming cohesive, actually becoming friends, or at least showing that they're actually friends. When Bucky comes over to Sam's, it helps him with the boat and flirts with his sister, and Sam threatens him, and they get to the end where Sam and Bucky actually have a heart-to-heart conversation where Sam is telling him, "You don't have to live up to Steve Rogers. You can be your own person." And he's pretty much doing his psycho. What's the word I'm looking for there? Carl, psychoanalyze Bucky and getting him to understand what his therapist was trying to tell him. But it was a lot easier coming from Sam than it was coming from his therapist. And seeing Bucky actually smile multiple times throughout that segment.
Yeah, Carl, what about you?
I'm also in that sort of camp. I have two little segments that I actually found highly enjoyable this week. The first one is sort of going on from what Keith was saying about the conversation between Sam and Bucky, where they sort of discuss the whole making amends thing that Bucky has to do. It's not so much the conversation, it's the fact that they're throwing Cap's shield back and forth against the same tree like they're playing catch. Like well, not even a frisbee. It was sort of like, two brothers or a father and son playing catch with a baseball mitt, but instead of doing that, they're throwing a friggin' vibranium shield against a tree. Only in the Marvel universe could you see a shield being used as like just a general throwing object of relaxation between the two, because it just seemed like they were just throwing it in between the sentences, and it was one of those things where it was like, are they even aware that they're throwing this thing back and forth? That they're throwing this huge shield back? No, it's like throwing a baseball. It's all good. It's light as a feather. Sure, no problem. And the other thing I did highly enjoy about this week, and it's something that's going to make a lot of people go back and rewatch the scene. If you take a look at Sam's training montage with the shield that happens afterwards, notice where he runs and where they put the camera placement through most of the scene. In single, where it's just him running, if you notice, he's on the right of screen. He keeps his left open.
That's good.
Because what did Cap say to him? On your left.
On your left. Yep.
So that was a great little callback, and when I saw it, I couldn't help but laugh and smile at that, because it's like, even though he's still, he's training to become the new Captain America, he's still leaving room for Steve Rogers and the memories and everything he has of him by staying to the right of side so that Steve could pass him on the left.
Also, when he's running with the training and he's running from the kids, he walks up to one of the kids and says, "All day."
Oh.
Yep.
I did. Yeah, that I did catch.
I was like, oh man, this is adorable. I think, yeah, for me, a lot of my favorite scene for sure was, the scene with Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Contessa Valentina is pretty high up there, but it got beat out basically by Bucky and Sam's sister Sarah flirting. I'm like, she's a nice lady. She's got kids. She deserves like, a nice guy. Just, he's older, sure, but it'll work out.
Older man.
Like she just and just like the glare down that happens. I'm just like, oh Sam, you're gonna have James Barnes as a in-law if you're not careful. Gonna be real brothers now. Terrible. I am the worst. It's fine. So yeah, let's talk really quick about actually that cameo. So we were prepped last week that we would be getting a celebrity cameo this time around, like a decently big one. And we were hoping that they weren't faking us that again like they had with WandaVision, but it turns out that that cameo is Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Contessa Valentina something Fontina. Lots of names, Val. And I am a little disappointed that she only had that one very short little scene. But she made a very big impression. What did you guys think of that?
Keith and I were talking about this the other night.
Disappointment.
Well, yeah, that, but also this was supposed to come out after Black Widow, and supposedly from reports that are coming out, she was going to have a role in that. Yeah, so that's been going around. So she was supposed to have some role in that, and then this was supposed to come on after, when people were going to be like, "Holy shit, she's back!" And but obviously we didn't get Black Widow yet, so it kind of loses a bit of that context that it should have had or would have had, because we don't know entirely what her deal is here, because she kind of just shows up and kind of I don't know, more or less recruits Walker for something that he's not even entirely aware of.
Yep.
Might very well be Thunderbolts. You know, if Matt was here, he would be very happy. Of course, I do find it funny that we get something potentially Thunderbolts adjacent, and he is not here for it. But I just wanted to throw out Thunderbolts on his behalf since he's not here. But no, yeah, I mean, it just didn't really do much. It was just kind of it was like, oh shit, Elaine's here, cool. All right, she's. I was like, yeah, it was like an interesting just like addition, but I don't feel like it really added a whole lot. But I feel like the absence of, you know, whatever Black Widow context, you know, whatever that would have brought, definitely hurt it a lot, because, you know, she's kind of just, it just felt like a celebrity cameo, honestly. But I'm excited to see what they do with her, because that character's done a lot of stuff in the comics. So we'll see what happens with her. I'm curious for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I really wish Disney didn't screw us around and gave us Black Widow first. It would have made a lot more sense. It would have had a lot more impact versus, oh, who's this person? Totally did her dirty because of that.
Yeah, I also feel like, and this might just be me because I only know Batroc from like Gwenpool, but like they kept bringing him up, and then he was just like I feel like they didn't really introduce him ever. Like I was like, who is this? Why do we care? And then like I don't know. Finally, someone was like, look, it's Batroc. I was like, ah shit, that's Batroc. And I feel like we have this conversation every episode.
You need to go, but you need to go back and rewatch the opening of Captain America: Civil War. That's where he debuted.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Sorry, yeah, Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like I feel like they didn't introduce him really all that well. Like I don't know, man. Like he's such a minor character.
It was very much an in passing thing when they were doing the briefing at the start. They mentioned these names Batroc,
yeah,
but that's it.
Yeah,
like
that's
it's if you're not listening properly, you're gonna miss the reference.
Yeah.
And bringing him back here, yeah, it's understandable that people are gonna be like, "Wait, who?" But that's half the joke. Batroc, like as you were saying, Batroc is one of those characters who is very dismissible as a villain. Like his whole thing is he leaps and he kicks. That's his whole gimmick. And much like if you ever look in the Spider-Man universe, there's a character called the Shocker, who has who has these gauntlets that like change vibration patterns or something like that, and he's a big joke. Like he's a one punch and done villain. That's what Batroc is in this type of situation. He is that one punch and done villain. So he is meant to be a joke, but they're trying to play him up like he's really serious. But every time he just gets his ass whooped, like easily.
He's definitely in way over his head. Like he's just not qualified to go head to head with Captain America or Bucky or Falcon or anybody. Like he's biting off more than he can chew, and it's pretty much every time he's around. Even the first episode is very much evidence of that. So he's just kind of yeah. I mean, I appreciate him being there, but he's definitely an interesting choice.
Yeah, I just again, he's like, I'm here, and they're like, supposed to be important. You're like, cool intro. What are we supposed to know about you? Like it's definitely. I feel like they've botched some of the introductions. So yeah, so if I don't even know what the frick to call her. If Val is supposed to be a bigger player, yeah, they unfortunately got botched by, or they got dunked on by basically like their scheduling problems from Disney. But I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I believe Black Widow's coming up May now on Disney Plus.
July.
July. Oh right, it's coming up for my birthday. Turning
Nice.
old, motherfucker. That's how I'm
It
gonna
do be like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna celebrate turning 30 by watching Black Widow. I mean, why the fuck not? Just watch the one lady's last adventure as she goes out the door. Very fitting for turning 30. Uh
Would,
I
would,
just-
would, would you would you like a little bit of background on La Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine?
yes, give us that Fontina.
Call her other
Backstory.
name. Call her other name.
Her other name? Oh, you mean Madame Hydra?
There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah,
There you go.
so she is one of these people who likes to manipulate things from the background. She has had a varied background in who she's worked for. She's worked for S.H.I.E.L.D., she's worked for Janus, she's worked for Hydra, she's worked for Leviathan. She has been Madame Hydra, so the head of Hydra at one point. She is one of those very big manipulative people, and it could be interesting to see where they go with her, because for all we know, she could be the power broker, to put another name on that list.
I don't think it's her. I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, who knows? But then again, she's also been replaced by Skrulls, so Sarah's back in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this could be the return of Hydra, or this could be another secret cell that's meant to open up. Like everybody else has already said, Black Widow was probably supposed to be her proper introduction, and we would have more sense of the character once the movie got released. But because Disney has been dragging its ass on doing all of this, we don't know exactly what's going on with this particular character, where we feel we should be knowing more. Anyone who's listened to this will know that Phase 4 was supposed to begin with Black Widow as the movie, moving into Falcon and Winter Soldier as a series, and then WandaVision was supposed to be third on the list. But because of production issues and everything else, everything got flipped backwards, and now we're reading the book Japanese style.
Thanks, COVID. We love it.
I'm sure it'll make sense in about another, 2-3 months, whenever the hell Black Widow actually gets put out onto Disney Plus, and we've seen that. Then we go rewatch everything else and be like, now we understand.
All making sense now.
So I have a question for everybody. Who watched the show with closed captions on?
Me.
I did.
Okay, so you saw
Always.
the upset part of the show.
But
Sarah's like, what? Did we get to that part yet? Can I talk about that part?
we can talk about that part. We can talk about whatever the hell we want. It's our podcast.
Okay,
We make the rules.
So there was a lot of talk that Sarah was, or excuse me, Sharon was kind of doing something shady in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And in this episode, we finally got that, because when she gets a phone call, she's actually talking to Betrock
Yeah.
Oh,
and saying,
yes.
"Hey, I got you out of jail. Shut up." And it's like, wait, what are you doing? Why are you sending him to go work with the Flag Smashers? What exactly are you doing? Who are you? Why are you selling out Sam and Bucky? So she's playing the field there. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Also implies that she set up the whole thing with him in the beginning of the season as well,
Yep.
because she was like, "Oh, I have another job for you," or whatever. Yeah, so she was involved with that as well.
See, I didn't even put that together. This is why I like this podcast. It helps me
Yeah, she's
appreciate
being the
show
bad
more.
guy. Where she's at, and the location famous for a certain clawed mutant that we won't talk about, and his digs, and she's running the show there, and that's why I'm like, I don't think Lady Hydra or Madam Hydra is the power broker, but I really, really think that Sharon has some connections to who the power broker is.
Yep.
Yeah, after this for sure.
I
That's
mean,
where I'm at.
I mean, if you think about it, she wasn't in the room when they shot the scientist, right? She was like on the outside. She was like, I'm looking around. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
'cause-
she was outside. Yeah.
Yeah, so because if he saw her, he would be like, "Hey, person who
Mm.
hired me."
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
that's a fair point.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, she was outside when they were doing that. She was outside giving the Black Widow a run for her money because she was just putting in that work. She was taking on everybody. Like, wow, okay.
Like,
This is
I
not
do
the
the
Sharon
murder.
I remember.
But I feel like the Sharon we remember is like a nobody character, like who could just do whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah.
I was talking with because these are the kinds of conversations I have with my local comic book guy when I go to pick up my my pull list. He was just like, it sucks that they would take a character who's so inspired by her aunt Peggy to like do good and do the right thing, and then like go on and like be an asshole and like be the villain. And I'm like, I actually kind of love that. I love the like I was a hopeful, optimistic, bright-eyed young thing, and then the world beat the shit out of me. So you know what? Fuck all of y'all. Going full villain. I will decimate the system. Like, I'm here for that kind of a narrative. I like that one a lot. So bring on villain Sharon, in my opinion.
Oh, she's here. She's here. I also want to go on record again, like I said last time. What we're seeing right now is just more stuff being added to the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're not going to see the end of U.S. Agent. We're not going to see the end of Sharon. We're barely going to get a glimpse of Sam as Captain America, and who will be Captain America for this phase until they
cool.
decide to take it away from him.
And they will.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I also, this episode, when I said the IGN sucks, and I said I have a couple reasons for that, but they put a review out about this, and the guy or person who did the review totally missed all the important stuff of the show. There's not enough action. There's no character development. This doesn't make any sense. And like, whoa, pump your brakes. There is a lot of character development that started at the beginning of the show, and it's coming full push right here.
This episode especially is like almost entirely character. I was fine with it. Like there was really only one action sequence in the very beginning, and I was fine with that because everything else, like following it, was great. Like all the character work, all of just the one-on-one conversations were like phenomenal to me. Like, and I was fine with I didn't even, it didn't really register even that there wasn't really any action because I was enjoying everything else so much. So
yeah,
there was just so much. You had Kari being radicalized. You're seeing her now. She's dropped her previous mission, and now she's just pissed and wants to kill everybody.
Yep.
We seen Sharon go, you know what? Let me help you be the bad guy. So she's changing up. We see Sam and Bucky working together, addressing their demons. Sam is helping Bucky address his past properly. Bucky's understanding it. Bucky is helping Sam understand why we gave you the shield. We didn't think about it for you being a black person. We apologize because how would we know? We're white. We didn't understand that this was happening. We weren't the same assholes who were oppressing you. You've got Isaiah Bradley on the same token. I hate white people because they did this shit to me. I refuse to believe that stuff has changed. So he's the bitter black man. We've got the kids, Sam's nephews, who are seeing Sam become this role model. We're shown a community of people who doesn't care who you are, they will accept you. And everything that we've seen in this show is being pulled directly from events that happened in our lifetime. And we're seeing every character have a different outlook of life and how they deal with it. And you're telling me there's no character development in here at all?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, yeah, you got to get out of here with that nonsense. You got to go.
That's a bad faith criticism. Which, yeah, I mean, for me, what's really interesting watching this show, I mean, and I think a lot of the criticism that's come out about this show is because you can really see sort of like the military roots that Marvel/Disney has really like put into the universe. People will talk about it like, oh, Marvel, like the military and taking all this military money. I'm like, oh, honey, Marvel and Disney have been taking military money since like Iron Man. This is nothing new, but because it brings to light a lot of the inequities and a lot of the really terrible and abusive and honestly human rights atrocities history of the United States military against service people of color, You know, it's definitely very intense scene, I think, for a lot of viewers to see Isaiah Washington basically be like, I don't know what self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America, given what Captain America stands for. Now, for Isaiah Bradley, Captain America stands for the government, the military, right? Which is very much what John Walker stands for. But I think, and y'all can disagree with me on this, I think very much Steve Rogers, Captain America, um, much like Sam Wilson's Captain America will be about America the people, America the communities, America the country that exists outside of like the White House in DC.
Oh yeah,
You know, like
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
and he's
it's
shown that.
people.
He's
Yeah.
he's shown that. That's why he went into hiding. He didn't agree on the Sokovia what's the word? I'm looking for?
Accords.
Of course. He was like, no, people have agendas, and we should be dealing with that. We should be for the people. This is how America should be, and this is how we should be. Not listening to the government, because the government's not always right. People have agendas. The government has agendas. Rogers was pretty much just like in the comics. When he didn't agree with the government, he was like, I'm out. Bye.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting. That conversation to me was probably one of the most poignant, and a little bit like side-eye Disney conversations I think Marvel has had, because if you really think about it, like Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man to an extent, those franchises have a lot of like, yay the military money is good. I mean, Captain America films also a lot of, I mean, you know, at least in like the early one, the first one, of like, yay military, which again, the military has its place, and I'm not here to like decry service people for what they do, but like, there's definitely a lot of like pro-militarism in Marvel, and this show basically says like, the military's done some fucked up shit and will continue to do some fucked up shit. And I think that's also really highlighted by John Walker's freak out in his hearing, where he goes, "You made me this. I did exactly what you made me to do."
Yeah,
No, that's true.
he's not wrong. Like,
He's
it's
not wrong at
probably
all.
the first time I've been like, you know what? You're not wrong, John Walker.
For once, you get 1 point.
Yeah, like, and something that I did enjoy seeing as far as Walker, you know that the MCU is a fictional universe because a white man is getting consequences for his actions. So that was something that was like, all right, I see what they're like. I'm glad they did it so quickly, but then his tantrum was just like he just flipped out in front of the council. I was like, holy shit, like this guy like does not care, and then he just like was pretty like without remorse, like for what he did. He was like, yeah, I had to do this. This was 100% necessary. Even talking to Battlestar's family,
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, like this was necessary. I had to do it. This guy, you know, killed him, and he didn't, but he was
Right.
in the room at the time, I guess.
Yeah,
But,
basically
yeah,
him,
that was
it's the
crazy.
same person. It's just like, oh, well, you know, he might not have been Carly, but like, it's the same idea. Like, it's the same, they're all the same, so therefore
Guilty by association kind of
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
So yeah, that part where he lies to the family like kind of freaked me out. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
Oof, that was rough.
Well, you got to think about his mind state. You know, when he's fighting Bucky, and he's like, "Why are you making me do this?" Like, oh, he done flipped. He's
Yeah.
done. He's done now.
He's so like he's committed to like he's like I'm right. He's like he believes that everything that he's doing is justified and he's right, and he's sticking to it. He's doubled down on it. He's like, yeah, I had to kill this guy. It was necessary, and yeah, and then him sort of telling Bucky and Sam is like, don't make why are you guys making me do this? Like, yeah, and then yeah, it was oh god, and when they broke his arm though, I was like, holy shit. That was
I love that
visceral,
fight
yeah.
so much
It was
because it
good.
was like, hey, look, remember earlier, the guy decided to I made a more refined version of the super serum. John Walker is kicking your guy's ass because he has the better super serum. He's literally wiping the floor with you, Sam. I understand that, but Bucky, he was kicking your ass, dude. What were you doing?
Poor Bucky.
Yeah,
Bucky's trying, man.
more refined. Yeah, he's got more strength, but he snapped going tighter than the elastic band.
But he's got the training too. I mean, he was just throwing Bucky around like Bucky. You got super serum.
Yeah, but
and you got a better arm. Hit him.
But let's go back all the way back to the original Captain America, the first soldier, right? The part of the serum was it takes the deepest
Right.
part of yourself, your potential, and brings it to the surface. That's why guys like Bradley and Steve both were able to fully adapt and not go crazy because they were good, genuine people. They wanted to
about
take
Bucky?
care of everybody else. Bucky was fed an altered version developed by Russia,
Right.
Yeah.
We don't know
and he was
anything about that.
he was under brainwashing as
He
well.
was also
so this is-
brainwashed for
yeah.
centuries,
And
a
he got that
century.
super arm,
So there's like 1,000 things different between those two versions. But going off the original version versus this quote unquote revised version that Walker got, it could be that one of the things that makes a super soldier that actually works properly and actually the serum adapts properly in their system is that intangible quote unquote good quality of the person. Walker was already damaged coming into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
He had been through wars. He'd seen his friends die. He's been through trauma. He essentially suffers from PTSD. And what all the serum has done has brought that paranoia that, I must save everybody. I'm only doing what I'm told. I'm being a good soldier. It's just brought all that to the surface and amplified it. Whereas when they did it to Steve, it was Steve's only drive for getting into the military was he wanted to help his fellow man. He wanted to serve his country. He wanted to protect people. And that was all amplified when he became Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the different dichotomies between the two. Yeah, the enhanced strength, speed, and everything else, that's a byproduct. But the main thing that is being shown here is the psychological difference between Steve Rogers and John Walker.
You know what I also appreciate when you say that is I like the fact that they didn't take Isaiah Bradley completely from, excuse me, the comics and put him into here. Because if you ever read the comics, you know anything about Isaiah Bradley, he lost his mentality. He reverted to a child state mentality. Not so much here. He's very bitter, but he is very aware of his surroundings and what's happening and what's going on.
Yeah, going back to what Carl was just saying as well. I think it was in the previous episode, right before it was in the previous episode before Walker ever took the serum when he was having a conversation with Hoskins. And Hoskins was like basically saying the serum makes you more of who you are, who you really are, and sort of amplifies that. So so they definitely like were very much aware of like that point when they were making the series, putting the show together and writing everything. And that was like a line that definitely stuck out with me, like when I first heard it, and it's very much still true now because obviously like, we've mentioned that Walker very much always been damaged, but and always just had this sort of darkness to him. But the serum sort of amplified that and sort of let it bloom a bit more and just sort of just run wild. So the serum definitely didn't necessarily make him evil, or make him bad, but it just amplified those negative qualities that he already had.
I mean, it's pretty clear that John Walker is very much like a follower, right? Like, he doesn't become Captain America because he really wants to be Captain America. He became Captain America basically because the army told him to. And he had those doubts in the beginning when he was like, am I going to be good enough? Is this the right decision? Should I really be doing this? And sort of understood in his interactions in episode 2 with Bucky and Sam that like there are grievances to be had about it being handed off to him versus being handed back to Sam. So I think in a way that like the serum might have also just sort of highlighted the fact that like John only really understands taking orders. He's like, you made me do this. You made me into this basically the perfect soldier. So he's basically the perfect agent, haha, of the United States government, where he listens to orders, he does exactly what he's told, and unfortunately, that shit gets you thrown under the bus because it doesn't matter how well you follow orders if you need to go. The military is going to kick you out. That's just facts.
Yeah, he made that very clear during his well, I wouldn't really call it a court-martial hearing, but the hearing that he went to for the actions of the previous episode, he basically says, "You made me, you trained me, you turned me into this, and now you're telling me I've done wrong because all I've done is follow your orders." And this is something that's always been prevalent in the Marvel universe, that the military does not always know best. You know, another good example of this is going way back into phase one with the Incredible Hulk. You know, you had the Hulk, who might be the rampaging of Banner's fears and paranoia and everything else. But look at what happened when you got Bronski. He copped the serum, or the blood or whatever, and he turns into the Abomination. Now that guy was just a military guy who was always aggressive, who was always doing what the military told him, and when he gets this taste of power, he turns into the Abomination and just goes psycho. It sort of seems to be this pattern that if you give anybody from the military power, they're gonna snap and go crazy.
Except Captain Marvel, though. I guess maybe because she forgot she was in the military. She was Air Force. Maybe
once again, she was brainwashed as well. That's another thing. You know, brainwashing, removal of memories, and stuff like that. So she didn't really. As much as she was able to work with her flying ability as an inherited skill, it's not so much she wasn't trained, hey, you are going to be on the ground fighting, killing people. It's, hey, you're in the air, you're a backup.
Well, actually, when you think about it, Sam was active military too. Sam was on the ground, even though he was also working in this experimental wing program. And yet he is not the crazy butt-faced asshole.
Yes, but take a look at the amount of psychological training he has undergone and has given to others.
Basically, I think what this is arguing is that therapy is really good, and that we should all get therapy, and that we should really make sure that
over 4 years here, and I can tell you now, therapy is great.
I really want some therapy, but I can't get it yet. But someday.
I was saying before that I do want a spinoff with Bucky's therapist, and every episode she's counseling a different Avenger, dealing with their shit, because there's a lot of bullshit that I'm sure a lot of them need to deal with.
Oh my god, the multi-part series that would be Thor.
Oh god,
Thor,
there's a lot going on there.
Hawkeye would probably need at least full
Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner for sure.
Bruce Banner just. I mean, he's so zen, but maybe he could I was gonna say something else, and then my brain just short circuited. Maybe Ant-Man. I don't know how he lived in the quantum realm and didn't lose his damn mind, but
I mean, he's only there for an hour. Well, to him.
To him. No, I don't know. Waking up and then finding that all the people are dead.
Well, yeah, that is very mentally taxing.
Think about Doctor Strange being stuck in the loop with Dormammu.
Oh yeah,
and then having to go through all the 18 million possibilities, watching people die over and over again in order to figure out which one was the one that was going to work. That's rough, man.
Everybody has issues.
Everybody's got problems. Everybody should go to therapy, especially superheroes. I feel like it's like being a president. It's like nobody who's sane wants to be a superhero. They just end up in this hell of their own creation. It's great. So yeah, there are a lot of really heavy themes in this episode, and we talked about a lot of them. Is there anything else that you guys wanna discuss? Because there's a lot to dig into in this episode.
I'm gonna be selfish and just applaud Marvel for what they're doing. Again, going back to the whole Isaiah Bradley thing here. Now, it depends on who you are, and I'm not saying anybody here is, because I don't know. But there is a long list of Black superheroes in the Marvel universe that I'm glad to see that they're recognizing some of them. With Isaiah Bradley, again, being quote unquote the first or the second Captain America after Cap went under in the ice. there have been a lot since then, but we've only ever seen one in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was Black Panther. Prior to him, though, we had Blade, who was coming back, but you also have other superheroes. It reminded me of an episode or a issue of the Black Panther where Storm and T'Challa were getting married. You may remember this one, Carl. And they had a bunch of the black superheroes there, and there was one frame where the Falcon is wheelchairing in Isaiah Bradley because he was invited to the wedding, and there was it was Luke Cage who was in his own TV show, and he saw him and he was like, "Wow, is that who I think that is?" And Wolverine's like, "Who is that? I don't know who that is." And he's like, "He's kind of the first me." Long story, because after the whole Isaiah Bradley stuff and Captain America came back and the Falcon was out there, Luke Cage was like basically, "Hey, I'm the next super strong black character." And he had his own issues too. If you look at Luke Cage's origin, he was jailed for something. He was experimented on in jail, became Power Man, got out of jail, was trying to live a life of trying to be a superhero while not trying to be the bad guy, go to the wrong side of the tracks and cause attention to himself. And he became this larger than life persona. So he became what Isaiah Bradley should have become. And then the rest is history. So it's just I want to see Marvel do more of that. I want to see them have more representation. And I know it's coming because obviously we have Carl, my mind is going blank here. The next Marvel movie, who is that? No, the martial artists. The martial artists.
Shang-Chi.
Oh.
Yeah. So we've got him coming out. We've got that one coming out. There's a couple other ones coming out. So I'm glad to see that they're doing more than just, oh, hey, these are people you know. How about people you don't really know about? And just getting more diverse. So that's just me. That's stemming from them even doing this, because I didn't think they would show Isaiah Bradley. I really didn't think they would do that. They touched on a lot of history of the Marvel.
There's actually, speaking of Isaiah Bradley, and I'm sort of looking up as we're going. There's actually another character called Patriot.
Yep,
who is
his
Elijah Bradley?
Yep, Eli, who was the guy who let him in the house.
Yeah, so
The grandson.
The grandson could become a character down the line. We do have a lot of upcoming as well. We've got Riri Williams, who
Miss Marvel as well.
Ironheart. Then you got Monica Rambeau, who will be coming back as Captain Marvel. God damn it, I hope so. Anyway,
it's not going to happen.
Photon.
Captain America, God damn it!
I think they've already established she will be full time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, there's Miss Marvel. Then we've got Shuri as well, supposedly getting a bigger role in Black Panther 2.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially.
I mean,
then you also got to think we've already got Valkyrie as well, who could be
and Camille Nanjiani's in the Eternals.
Yeah,
that's true.
So we do have a lot of black superheroes being represented in the Marvel universe, at least the cinematic universe, which is absolutely brilliant because and some of them have popped up on other shows. Like, as you said, Keith, we've had Luke Cage, who got his own show. We've had Deathlock show up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's actually been quite a few black superheroes showing up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
We've got Rhodey.
Yeah, we got Rhodey. When they can work out whether he's Don Cheadle or not. And then even we've got, technically Into the Spider-Verse is somehow linked into all this as well, so you can count Miles Morales.
And we've got Storm coming with the X-Men again.
Storm coming with the X-Men. Nick Fury. Well, yeah, you can't forget Mr. One Eye. Like there are plenty of diverse characters, especially now we're starting to get more not just black characters, but we're getting
a more diverse cast.
Diverse cast. Yeah. We're getting more Asian characters in there. We're getting I say European as part of diversity because everything's part of diversity. But
yeah, it is.
We
we're
are
getting a broad swath.
Yeah, we even had the Ghost Rider that was in Agents of Shield,
Robbie Reyes.
Robbie Reyes.
Yeah.
So there's Spanish representation. So
And
this
Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Moon
Moon Knight.
Knight.
Yeah.
I,
That's cool.
I forgot that. I forgot that was a thing. Believe me, I haven't actually watched. I haven't watched like Cloak and Dagger and
Oh,
Hellstorm.
yeah.
Completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
show.
Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and
Runaways as
Dagger was
well.
the thing. Runaways.
Runaways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Runaways had like a bunch of like.
That's pretty diverse, yeah.
Yeah, they had two. They had one Latina, they had an Asian character, an African American character, and then I don't know what Gertie was supposed to be. Like Gertie to me reads as also Latinx Hispanic, but
On
like
the show, yeah.
yeah,
They
like
definitely lead into that. Not so much in the comics, but in the show for sure.
yeah. So I mean, but she's great.
Yeah. So if anybody out there ever tries to turn around and go, hey, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is full of too many white characters, I'm gonna slap you down.
Punch him in the face.
Yeah.
Because like they have done an amazing cast, and they're using already established superheroes. They're not turning around and taking characters and changing them around for the sake of diversity, unlike DC is doing. But they've turned around and they've gone, hey, they're already well-established, diverse characters. Let's bring them somehow into the universe and let's make them very credible. Like the way that they've handled Isaiah Bradley and helped him be sort of an allegory for the struggle of African-American people in their upbringing and through their history has been really well done. Sure, it gets a little preachy at times, but it is very well done and very well handled. And I think that's probably one of the best things that the MCU has done over their competitors.
I have to say, it's really interesting how superhero media has tackled issues of race. Like, I would disagree that it's preachy, if only because there's so many Americans of various backgrounds who don't know that this should happen. Like, I will talk to people about, like, the eugenics movement or the Tuskegee experiments, where people will be like, what are you talking about? That never happened. Like, kind of did.
I will say this real quick, Sarah. When Isaiah, I'm sorry to cut you off. When Isaiah Bright was talking, and he was like, they would give us different serums. They would tell us this tetanus and like that. I remember that shit when I was in the military, and they would just say, "Here." I'm like, what is this? Oh, it's just a shot. Like, is it? What is this?
Yeah.
And they would never say anything afterwards. Like, okay.
Nope.
So they never gave you a super soldier serum, Keith? Are you disappointed about that?
I never got that, dude. If I
maybe
happy
you did,
if I
it just
got
didn't
that.
work. Maybe just made you into the editor-in-chief we love today. We don't know.
That's why I'm so crazy now. God darn it, military.
No, it's true. But I mean, the other thing the other thing I wanted to bring up was HBO's Watchmen had a plot line, and I know this is technically not Marvel, but whatever, we're gonna talk about it. Where they talked about the Tulsa City riots, I believe. Where basically it was a riot that happened in the early 20th century, where basically they created a charge that said that an African American man or a black man had attacked a white woman in an elevator and used that as justification to decimate one of the richest and financially richest
Black Wall Street, as they call it. Yeah.
Yep.
Communities, and people who lived in that area did not know that had happened because it's just not taught. It's not discussed. So like, for some people, like, yes, maybe like Isaiah's speech is old hash, and you know these things, you know about the Tuskegee syphilis experiments, you know about eugenics and all these things that happen, but there's a surprising number of people of all backgrounds and diversities and geographical locations in the United States who just don't know that this shit happened. And the fact that they're willing to take the time and say, listen, like, yes, what this super serious shit is fictional, but the fact that, like, servicemen of color were experimented on extensively is a real thing. It's an important talking point to have because we don't talk about it. Like, we just, and black prisoners also with Luke Cage, like, that shit just is not discussed in history classes because enter reason here, some like board in Texas that runs the publication decided that it was not as important as, like, I don't know, the Civil War.
Some people just don't want to have those difficult conversations. I feel like that's a huge part of it. Yeah,
Cowards.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Like,
so damn us for being educated. Damn it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, basically, it's like we are a couple levels ahead, But yeah, because but I didn't even know about the Tulsa City thing. I had no idea.
I found out
Nobody
about
had ever
that
told
through
me.
Watchmen, and then I read up on it afterwards because I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
teach that stuff in schools. It's not
Nope.
in any books. It is not. And when I was
No.
I won't say I was glad when people started asking about that during the Watchmen. But I was like, yeah, this really happened. And people was like, no, they made it for the TV show. No, it happened.
It really
really
happened.
happened. And
Yep.
then the kicker of all this was the guy didn't do it. The woman lied, and it's like,
Right.
you destroyed all this.
Yeah. I don't think it was the woman necessarily that lied. I think that basically they were like, say this thing, like, you know, people who were mad about this area existing were like, say this thing, say it happened, and that'll give us the justification to, you know, go buck wild and murder
They
a bunch
just
of
wanted
people.
any reason to just go
And
crazy.
and
there,
there was
yeah.
also I don't know if anybody saw it. There was also a movie on this.
Mm.
Black Wall
Yep.
Street Burning. Yep.
Yep. And I mean, also, like, you know, when I moved out to the Midwest for a little while to go to graduate school, somebody had to tell me what a sundown town is. I had no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
for those, I guess, those listeners who don't know what a sundown town is, because again, you might be like me, who just grew up in an area where like such a thing did not exist. A sundown town is essentially a town where the unspoken law of the land is if you are a person of color, you need to be indoors by sundown, or you are going to be subject to insert horrible thing here, be it a lynching, police brutality, attack of any kind. So yeah, I didn't know such places existed. Turns out there's a rich history of it all across the Midwest and in the South. So you know, you like, again, these are just because these are things that are not talked about in our history books. Because I guess they make people uncomfortable, or you know, it's not a priority. I mean, like, I remember somebody telling me that there's like this editorial board down in Texas that discusses a lot of the curricula for textbooks for history classes, and basically they wanted to remove as much of the civil rights stuff as possible because they just didn't think it was as important as like enter administration name here, which I forgot, maybe the Kennedy administration. It's just like, why can't you just have both?
Everything has to be like American exceptionalism, where it's just like America's the greatest. They did nothing wrong. We only do great things.
And when we were wrong, we made it right with the Civil War.
Yeah, let me just say this, Sarah. If you never heard of the sundown towns before, there was a reason why I didn't like being stationed in Alabama when I was in the military. I don't want to be here. Let's not be here.
I grew up in New York, where I mean, I'm sure like in upstate New York there were some things, but I mean, like, even like the racist history out here. I live on Long Island, and basically Robert Moses decided that he wanted the major highways to have these low bridges, and you're like, but why? Like, why? And the reason was so buses couldn't come and bring families of color to Long Island, because he was like, well, they don't have cars, they only come by buses. So now you have things like Northern State Parkway and Sunrise Highway or Southern State Parkway, one of the two, that have these like low ass bridges where trucks can't get through, but also buses can't get through, and that's literally built into the infrastructure of this place.
Of the greatest place in the world.
It's bananas. It's just absolutely bananas. Like, shit, I grew up here and I didn't know that until my 20s, until somebody told me. You know, took history classes here and everything.
I feel like most of people's 20s is realizing how fucked up like society and like the countries they grew up in like actually is. Like, it's you're just like, oh, I didn't, like, especially now we have the internet, we have this stuff like at our fingertips, but it's like as you get older you're like, holy shit, you kind of have all these like really fucked up epiphanies about the world around you that you didn't realize, and kind of happens all the time and doesn't really ever stop, and it kind of sucks.
Yep. Woo! What a uplifting and fun episode.
You thought we just talked about geek stuff? Ha! We talk about everything.
We slipped it in there.
We give you some education in here as well. You know, we're not just like everybody else who analyzes and runs. We like to educate and dump knowledge upon y'all.
We're giving you a 3-course meal.
How dare you put politics in Captain America?
Oh no! It's almost like it's in his name. Oh wait.
But back on track, which I derailed us. It's my fault. Back on track. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up before the end of the episode?
One last thing, as far as like diverse characters, the character of Joaquin Torres,
I love him.
He's great. I really like him on the show. In the comics, he does become Falcon at one point.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if this is something they're even going to touch on, but he does have those broken wings. So I don't know if that means they're setting something up for like way down the line, but it was a cool detail that I appreciated.
What
Was
happened
there.
to him?
I know he became like a Birdman.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
And
a
then
vampire Birdman.
After after Sam became the Falcon again, he just disappeared.
Yeah, I don't remember. I can't remember the last time I saw him. He just kind of faded away.
He's taking a vacation, you guys. Just a real long vacation.
He's just perched on a tree somewhere. Like he literally turned into a Birdman. Like he has like talons like on his feet. It's fucking weird.
And took Redwing from he took him too.
He took
like,
Redwing as well.
Sam was like, wait, what? You took my bird? Took your bird. Took your name and your bird.
I do wish they had like an actual bird as Redwing. But I understand why it needs to be a drone. But I wanted a bird.
I've learned so much today.
Yeah, Redwing is an actual bird in most of the comics. And they have like a kind of telepathic connection. Him and Redwing and Sam.
They share the bird. Joaquin shares the bird
And
bird
Joaquin as
brains.
well, yeah.
They
bird
use him as a
brains,
messenger.
Yeah.
So Joaquin, get his ass over here.
Oh my
No, I
God.
do really like Joaquin in the show, and I hope he comes back. If not as Falcon, as just around. Like I like him. So more of him, please.
Any other thoughts, guys?
I'm sad that we likely won't get to see the actual U.S. agent because he was painting the shield at the end. He built his shield with a box of scraps. I like that throwback to Iron Man. That he's making his shield the same as Captain America's. It's not the black, red, and white. It's the red, white, and blue. I also like the fact that he actually was kind of calm during the hearing. I mean, yeah, he did bang on the stand or podium or whatever, but he has super serum. He could have broke that thing in half. I think he was trying to keep it on the hush that I have this superpower and you don't know about this. Because I'm pretty sure if they knew that he was pretty damn strong, that he would not be standing there in the open like that with no armed personnel to take him down if they need be.
Good point.
So.
Good point.
No, this was the most powerful episode thus far.
I agree. Yeah.
And I like the fact this entire show, everybody was like, "Oh, this is just going to be all mindless action." Oh no, it isn't. It hasn't been, has it? Nope. A little less action than I wanted, but I love the character building. I love the situations. I love how everything is coming together. Again, how they're giving Bucky some closure. They're making him a complete character. He went from being Steve's best friend to Steve's sort of role model to being Steve's sidekick to becoming Steve's enemy to becoming Steve's sidekick friend again to being lost when Steve said, "I'm out." And when we first saw him in the beginning of the show, he was lost. And now he's, he has a friend. He has friends. He's understanding the way things work now. He's not as bitter. Again, we saw him smile in the first time at all in this entire show. And he's flirting. He's flirting. He's happy. He's watching kids play. He's enjoying himself. He's a happy guy. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, he deserves it.
He deserves nice things. You
Yeah.
guys. All
I
right.
really love the fact, though. He was like, hi, I'm Bucky. I'm Sarah. And Sam's like, what the fuck's going on here?
He is
Oh, no, you
not having
don't.
any of it.
There was also another bit in that particular sequence of scenes where like there was a coolant or something that was leaking.
Yeah.
And it's like, why didn't you use the metal arm? You know what? I actually forget it's there sometimes because I'm right-handed.
He's right-handed.
Like, oh yeah. Oh man.
That's really funny. Yeah, I appreciated that.
Yep. What would
yeah,
you do? If you had a
just,
super arm.
But
I guess the
I
last. Okay.
I mean, they're both super arms, though, right?
That's
in
yeah,
their own
well-
way. I will say I hope this isn't the end of the adventures of Baron Zemo. Like I know we've taken him out of the series at this point, but I want to see more adventures of Baron Zemo.
The dude went to
Yeah.
the raft willingly. He's got something planned.
also
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in the raft right now, and I feel like having that many potential villains, and especially one like Zemo, who is very good at just like getting people to just kind of dance to his rhythm. Could very well be like a Thunderbolts situation where like, I mean, as far as we like, I believe they've like I feel like this was confirmed a while ago, but Abomination is in there. Now we have Zemo in there. Yeah, I know there's a handful of past villains that are like still currently in the raft. So I don't know. I feel like there could be something there that they could definitely capitalize on. Will it be Thunderbolts? Maybe. Who knows? But I feel like it's something that we can see, and then we can see Zemo again because this show made me actually enjoy Zemo's presence, and I was kind of bummed when he was still sidelined very quickly in the episode. I was like, oh okay, he's gone.
He went away way too calmly. He was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
was
got something
too
going
chill.
on. He knows what's up. He's not worried.
he was like, don't worry, I'll be back with my dancing.
And my Turkish delights.
I just as far as just like this episode and like where things are going, it does feel like there's a lot that needs to get tied up in this last episode.
Not happening. We talked
Yeah,
about this. This ain't
no,
happening.
yeah. Like I mean, as far as a lot of things are obviously going to carry over, and I'm just hoping that they are able to at least give this show on its own a satisfying conclusion, while still obviously having like these threads that are still going to go out. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. Like right now, you still have the Flag Smashers doing their thing. You have Walker, building his shield and potentially a different costume. Who possibly something about I was thinking about Walker. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have vibranium, so he's just throwing essentially a trash can lid that's just gonna like
that is not gonna work.
It's not gonna bounce back. It's just gonna throw it. It's gonna like hit like Bucky in the chest and just fall on the ground. Like it's not gonna bounce off like the shield, the traditional shield does.
What I'm envisioning is he's gonna make his shield. He's waiting for Madam Hydra to contact him. She's gonna go, "What is this?" And do a Tony Stark. You need a systematic upgrade from top to bottom. Let's go.
She seems she's
I
definitely connected.
I reckon he's going to wait for an opportunity during the fight and switch the shields.
I mean, you can't see how like one. It's going to way different. Two, it looks completely different. It's got welt marks on it and whatnot. He literally
And also
he
put his medals on it as well.
Yeah, well, if you also notice when he's building it, he's building almost an exact 1-to-1 replica. He did smooth out all the welding marks and everything else. The only way you're going to notice that is if you pay close attention to the back of the shield.
No,
which in the heat of battle, you're not going to notice it. In the heat of battle, you're not going to notice it.
You're going to know it. You're going to see it. I mean, somebody who's been with that shield long enough knows the difference between a shield.
Yeah, and he did also weld like his medals onto
Why
it.
did he do that? I don't get that.
I don't know. Some symbolic thing to him, I guess.
I couldn't figure that out. I couldn't figure out why he did that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just part of his just sort of his past, and he's trying to like, sort of immortalize that in this new persona that he has. I don't know. But
it's really weird though. He's like, I'm Captain America. I can't let it go. Like, dude, you're not Captain America. Just stop.
Yeah, that ship has sailed, but he's definitely not gonna. He's not going anywhere easy. And I feel like people that were upset about there not being a lot of action, I feel like that's gonna change in this last episode. It's gonna be a lot of shield throwing and lots of super powered punches happening.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yep.
It's really sad. When we were watching WandaVision, it was like, all right, this is maybe this is taking a little longer than we want. It's kind of overstayed its time. Okay, but it's great. And this is like, okay, I'm loving this. Oh, it's over next week.
Yeah, I kind of want more.
I know, but unfortunately,
how long till Loki?
Yeah, basically,
Like
it's gonna be a month.
Is it?
Is it a month? Okay.
I think it's starting in June. Yeah, it's interesting how like Loki was sort of supposed to be last, and now he's gonna precede Black Widow. Which hey,
June 11th.
Yeah, we had a while.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. But that gives us a break. It gives Carl time to revamp and come up with all these cool fun puns for his recaps. I'm excited. So you gotta learn how to do the Loki voice, Carl. That's my mandate.
Oh God.
He's like, why would you do this to me?
Wait! I can do Loki after he's been beaten up by the Hulk.
You know what? I'll take it. That's pretty good. So you don't
It's
have
like
to do any
it's like he's in the room with us.
It's like, oh yeah, you know what? Carl's got it. I don't know why I thought Carl would need the time to work on it. I'll work hard to make sure my intros are good. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in with us. I know this ended up being a little bit of a longer episode, but there was a lot to dig into here, and we hope that you've enjoyed digging into it with us. If you want more news, views, and reviews, we've got all of that over at the outerhaven.net, where you can find anything a nerd could want on video games, television, books, anime, all the good stuff that I don't even know that we have because it's just so broad and sweeping that my poor little tiny mind cannot encapsulate all of it. And of course, be sure to read the episode review from our friend Tyler, which should be going up soon. It's not out right now, but it'll be up shortly. And of course, please make sure to find us wherever you are, be it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Nope, we don't have an Instagram. That's okay. Find us on Facebook and Twitter. Tell us what you think. We are always open to suggestions. Do we take those suggestions? No, not always.
Coming soon to TikTok to sing sea shanties.
Oh no.
Yes! Oh my god! The Outer Haven Sea Shanty Hour. Yes, let's make it happen, people. Tell us how much you love that idea, please, and thank you.
Looks like we need a public Discord server. Is what it sounds like. We can just lock it down, and Sarah can sing her sea shanties.
Oh boy, y'all. Yes, you'll have to wait till next time for that. The stunning conclusion to Falcon and the Winter Soldier and to the Spoilercast is me singing sea shanties. But until then, everybody, please stand by.